you, show you what this waistline do all sorts of things to you. I wanna make you my boo. Now I want to wine on you, show you what this body do. Put this body.
What is up, you guys? It's D. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Happy 500 subscribers. Happy community tab. Thank you, YouTube, for opening my community tab. And thank you guys for subscribing and getting me to 500 subscribers so my community tab can be open. I'm very grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, as you guys can see, I'm going to be talking about natural hair. This is basically my beginner's guide to natural hair for you guys. I've tried to summarize some of the information that I've gathered, and I would also like to place a disclaimer that I am not a natural hair stylist. I am just a natural hair enthusiast. I love to research natural hair and learn more about natural hair because I have natural hair myself, and I'd like to know how to go about taking care of my hair. So please note that this is not coming from any professional place. Most of this information is information that I've gathered on Google myself. My lighting is terrible. So most of this information is information that I've gathered from YouTube, from other YouTube content creators, as well as from Google and Pinterest. So please don't judge me. Okay, so in this video, I am going to be speaking about a couple of things that I feel like it's important to learn about whilst you're starting your natural hair journey. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you're new or slightly familiar with natural hair, then you should be familiar with this chart. It's called the natural hair type chart, and it is usually characterized into 4 groups, and in those groups there are 3 categories. Okay, so I could go ahead and give you guys a brief detail explanation as to how this chart came about, but I'll just put that in my description box because that is long and we really don't want this video to be ridiculously long. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So basically, when I started out my natural hair journey, I got introduced to the natural hair type chart, and it helped me to learn about my hair, you know. In terms of, I won't necessarily say it helped me to learn much about my hair. To be honest, the natural hair chart is basically a reference guide to your hair, right? Especially if you are starting your natural hair journey and you're not really certain how your hair is gonna come out like after all the chemical treatments and stuff like that. So for me, when I started out, I had already permed my hair for a long period of time, and I wasn't really familiar with my own actual hair pattern or my curl type or my hair type in general, because before perming I used to relax my hair, so I wasn't really quite familiar as to how my hair would look like. And when I did actually do wash my hair, I would actually blow it out and make it straight. So I really didn't know much when it came to my hair until I got introduced to the natural hair chart. And then I got an idea of like, oh, so this is basically how my hair is going to look like when, you know, it's fully transitioned and stuff like that. I did actually also do a big chop, so that kind of really helped to, like, you know, to prove, okay, yeah, that's how my hair is going to look like and stuff like that. Because I'm gonna tell you something, I had very unrealistic ideas as to what my natural hair is gonna look like. Okay, I was thinking I'm gonna be in the type 3 category, but Lord was like, no, child, you are a type 4, stay there, know your lane. Okay, so basically we have our type 1, right? So type 1 is usually our straight hair, and it is also classified into 3 categories, which is your A, your B's, and your C's. So each type has A, B, and C. And obviously, it starts in type 1. A is our straightest hair. It is so straight, nothing can make it curly unless it obviously goes through chemical treatments like a perm or something like that. So type 2 is, so from type A to type C, right? So type C would actually kind of like give you an intro to type 2 hair, which is our wavy hair. And obviously type 2A, right, would be our less wavy, and our type 2C would be our extremely wavy hair, which would also give you an indication or an intro to our type 3 hair. And our type 3 hair is obviously our curly queens over here, and you have our type 3A, which is the loose curls, while type 3B, type 3C is our slightly more curly hair. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're kind of getting a glimpse of type 4 hair, and type 4 hair is basically my category. This is where I put my hair. And you have type A. Type A is still relatively kind of curly, I guess you could say, but more tightly coiled compared to type 3. So we also got type B, and we've got type C. Now, I do know that a lot of us have a combination of different types of curl types, okay? For instance, I know that my hair at the back, especially when I started my transition, hair at the back is more tightly coiled compared to my hair in the front. I do feel like my hair in the front is more of like a type 4A to 4B, while my hair at the back is a type C on the dot. Like, that hair is way too tightly coiled. And I do think that a lot of us who've actually started our transitions, our hair at the back usually coils a lot more faster than our hair on the side and on the front. So how to go about finding your type hair? Now, this obviously depends on what stage are you at. Did you just do a big chop, or are you still transitioning? Now, when you are transitioning, it is relatively difficult to, well, not necessarily, it's not necessarily difficult to figure out your hair type or your curl pattern, but it's going to take you a while to figure out the exact one, because you are still transitioning, meaning that there are still some chemical properties that are still influencing your hair, right? So it is going to take a while, but usually your back hair is where I feel like your back hair is essentially your starting point, because your back hair usually transitions faster than all the other sections of your hair compared to your side hairs and your front hair. So I also said, like, my hair, I only started to figure out the curl pattern when I started transitioning, because I transitioned first, then I did my big chop. So by the time I did my big chop, my back hair, this is why it's actually longer than my front hair, it had already went back to its original curl type or curl pattern. So while my front hair and my side hair were relatively still influenced by the perm. However, when you do a big chop, honestly, your hair at the roots is the most healthiest and it's at its most natural state. So it will be relatively easier to figure out your natural hair type once you did a big chop, right? And in order to go about doing this, guys, I'm so sorry that the lighting keeps on changing and fluctuating. But in order to go about doing this is that usually when you wash your hair, right, just take a little strand, just take a couple of strands of your hair and look at its curl pattern based on how it is. Now, bear in mind, once you've washed your hair, it has no products in it, it has no chemicals in it, it's just washed. So that is the easiest and fastest way to figure out how to figure out your curl pattern and your hair type, right? So I really hope that I summarized that for you guys in a way that you guys can understand. Okay. Now let's go about talking about hair textures. Now, hair textures usually refers to like the circumference of your hair. And hair textures is also characterized into 3 categories. You've got fine, you've got medium, and you've got thick, okay? So fine hair, I actually have this written down. I got a book. I was serious about this. Okay, so your fine hair, usually fine hair is always considered a fragile type of hair. This type of hair usually breaks easily. It's usually super oily, and it's relatively thin. So people who appear like they don't have a lot of volume, and you'd usually find fine hair in like your type 1 category, because their hair is relatively straight. So, and it's relatively straight, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of hair. You get some of them that actually do have a lot of hair, and then you get some that generally don't have a lot of hair. So yeah, to figure out if you're fine or okay. So fine hair is characterized as fragile, thin, and oily. So if your hair is fragile, which tends to break easily. It doesn't hold products well, it doesn't hold hairstyles well, and also it's super oily, then your category is fine. And also it's thin. So yeah, identify yourself. Then we've got our medium hair. So our medium hair, it's relatively thick compared to fine hair. It also holds hairstyles relatively well, and also it doesn't break that easily. So you'd usually find your fine hairs, I would honestly say that, you know, from type 2 to type 3, then you'd have a good idea of your fine hair, I mean your medium hair. So yeah, and then we've got thick hair, which is also known as coarse hair, type 4 hair. Screw gang, let's meet up. And this hair is much fuller compared to other hair types or hair textures. It holds hairstyles relatively well, and also it takes forever to dry. That's also another category which I do think I fall under, although I don't necessarily think that my hair is thick, because I've seen super thick hair and it's like, honey, I want that. But for me, my hair does take a while to dry. It is relatively coarse. It kind of does hold hairstyles better, I guess, but I don't really do much of hairstyling on my hair, so I really don't know. But if I had to be honest, I usually just say it's between medium and thick hair, because I do feel like it has both qualities of medium and thick. So I don't really know exactly where to put it. So yeah. So yeah, and also it doesn't break easily. So yeah, that's basically a quick, simple guide into natural hair types and natural hair textures. I hope you guys like this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you are notified each time I upload a new video. Bye.